Amy waited inside her escort outside Roxy's until school bus number 71 pulled into the parking lot. Scooter exited the bus. His brown hair was unkempt and his polo shirt wrinkled, not typical of Scooter's usual neat style. He climbed into the passenger side of her car.
How was school?
Scooter glanced at her, suspicion in his eyes. That wasn't really what she wanted to ask, and he probably knew it. She really wanted to ask,
Did anyone stuff you in a locker or make you eat ABC gum? Or heaven forbid, did anyone put a cigarette out in your hair again?
I want my own car.
Maybe you should think about getting a job. I can talk to Carmen and see if they need a work hand on the chicken farm.
That's disgusting. Those places stink worse than paper mills.
You have to start somewhere.
Scooter folded his arms against his chest. Shane could give me the jalopy and buy himself a new truck. Scooter was about to graduate high school and hadn't worked a day in his life. Part of her felt worried for him since he didn't seem worried for himself. But another part of her wanted to see him get his hands dirty. She decided to change the topic.
Mrs. Wright came into the diner today. You're not being mean to her daughter, are you?
I'm usually the one taking the beatings. I'd never bully anyone else. But what does Joanne expect? I mean, who's dumb enough to get pregnant at 16?
Lots of kids make dumb mistakes. But you won't be one of them. You're too smart for that, right?
I have a summer project. It's on the effects of animal behavior in relation to moon phases. If I complete it before July, then my science teacher will write me a reference letter for UCLA.
Interesting.
UCLA professors won't help but be impressed.
Are you sure you won't miss Buckeye if you head out west?
The only thing I'm going to miss about this place is you.
Well, isn't that sweet? I bet Abe would be perfect for helping you out on that project.
Really? Isn't he crazy and a drunk?
I don't think he's a drunk.
The guy's kind of a weirdo.
People say that a lot about me, too.
She patted his jean-clad thigh.
But you still like me.
He gave her a sidelong glance, grinning.
That's true. Come on, we're gonna go see Abe right now. I need some worms. Your brother's coming home early.
They fire him? She'd been wondering the same thing, but hadn't the nerve to text Shane and find out.
I hope not.
I got a new board game called Night City. You want to try it out later?
I would love to.
Scooter's board games were elaborate and complicated, but she knew he didn't have many friends except Zach Grouse. Sometimes it had gotten hard for her being solely responsible for Shane's brother while he was away, but she wouldn't trade the kid for 1,000,000 of Roxy's pecan pies. After looking out for him for the past 5 years during Shane's stint in the army and now in the oil field, she couldn't imagine a day without him or his mind-boggling board games. And if it wasn't for her watching Scooter, she and Shane would have gone their separate ways, just as they'd done after Victoria's accidental death. Amy flicked her blinker and steered into the drive of Abe's Bait and Tackle, shorthand for Abe's beer, bait, ammo, tackle, and more, which was printed on the receipts. The little brick building was nestled between a dilapidated warehouse and a dinky gas station with only 2 pumps. stacks of dog, horse, and cow feed bordered the doorway. Amy and Scooter walked between two drink coolers filled with beer. They stopped at the glass counter where the grizzly old man sat with his back to them. His waist-length silver hair was tied into a ponytail. He focused on a big-mouth bass swimming in an aquarium built into the wall.
"I'll be with you in a moment, Cher. I'm having me a talk with Apollo."
What's he saying?
I said I was talking to Apollo. If the damn fish starts talking back to old Abe.
I need some night crawlers.
Don't understand why you people don't just go find them yourself. All you got to do is move some pine needles, and nbsp crawling on that sweet, moist soil.
Wouldn't that hurt your business?
Amy folded her arms on the glass countertop. Abe swiveled his stool to face her, a can of beer in one hand, a briar pipe in the other. Wisps of spicy sweet latakia rose to the ceiling in halos. A dark purple gree-gree bag dangled around his neck.
You think I make my living off worms? That makes me want to laugh, Cher. You going fishing tonight?
That's the plan, when Shane gets home.
It's a full moon. Fish be biting real hard when the moon's full.
He puffed on his pipe.
But you best be staying out of them woods, you hear me?
I hear you. I don't need any more adventure in my life than I already got inside my head.
What adventure you getting up to, Cher?
Oh, nothing out of the ordinary. Just the voice in my head and finding out that there's a beast out to get me.
Amy enunciated the word beast and swiped the air with a claw-shaped hand.
Excuse me, Scooter said. What do you know about how the fish bite on a full moon?
I know a lot about such stuff. I tried to teach your stubborn brother, but his head is harder than a crawdad's claw.
Scooter's doing a science paper on the effects the moon has on animals.
Abe sipped his beer.
I was born under a full moon. Whenever it's full now, my big toe twitches. And strange women come knocking on my door. Hell, last Monday, Saucy Latina showed up and gave me a hell of a blowjob. That woman could suck a...
Gosh almighty, I don't think Scooter or me want to hear about that.
Speak for yourself, Scooter said, while giving Amy a teasing grin.
I bet you would, Pony.
He tampered the leaves and relit the tobacco.
In nature, after the autumnal equinox, a female gets frisky 3 days before the second full moon. Some folks say that's when the Earth Mother reunites with her lover consort son.
After both lying dead for the whole winter, Amy finished.
What else you got, Abe?
Scooter removed a notebook and pen from his backpack.
Is there anything you know about the moon and animals that doesn't involve sex?
Ever hear the moon rabbit? Folks say it's a behemoth of a jackrabbit that dwells up on the moon and pounds on moonstones to make elixirs of life. But that there rabbit ain't none compared to Vostrick, the scorpion sentinel to the gateway of countless hells, up on the Martian moon Deimos. 'Cause somebody's saying he guards gates on our world too. If Abe sees a big-ass bug like that, he'd be moving somewhere else for sure.
Abe tilted his head to a corner of the shop where a funnel-shaped web clung to the crumbling ceiling and wall. A spindly hobo spider waited amongst the sticky strands.
The moon sent that there spider down to Earth to give us simpleton folk a message.
He crushed the empty beer can and tossed it into a wastebasket.
So what's the message?
Fuck if I know, boy.
Abe studied the arachnid with a slanted glare.
The moon can even drive a spider insane.
He cracked a fresh beer and walked to a shelf where dozens of styrofoam cartons containing night crawlers were stored.
Thanks.
Amy dropped a couple dollars on the counter. Scooter knelt in front of the glass casing and examined a box of bullets labeled Omen Ammunition. Written in smaller print, genuine pure silver ammo.
Are those really silver bullets? What do people want silver bullets for? Ain't that what they use to kill vampires?
Werewolves, Scooter said. Silver bullets kill werewolves.
Worse things out there than what you see on them Universal pictures. Silver is a lunar element linked with the moon, but I reckon it'd do as good a job as a lead bullet.
Interesting. Amy knelt and examined the other items in the glass case. A small wooden box with bronze latches. A beige price tag hung from it with Abe's handwriting. Authentic troll slaying kit. $599.82.
You know how curious them outsiders are. Come to Buckeye on hunting trips and they hear about them strange tales coming out of the old Rawlings house in them woods. I figure I might as well make a buck off their monster hunts by offering silver bullets, wooden stakes, and holy water. That reminds me.
Abe braced himself on the countertop with both elbows, looking at Amy.
Do you by chance know somebody that goes by the name Tobias?
Amy jolted upright from her kneeling position.
What do you know of him?
Her fingers gripped the edge of the counter. Abe plopped on the stool and rolled to the left. He rummaged under the counter. When he rolled back, he set down something covered in a brown cloth.
Take this here, Cher. I suspect it was meant for you.
With trembling fingers, Amy unwrapped the cloth. Scooter gawked at the dagger hidden in the folds of the dirty rag. Awesome. Etched in gold lettering into the ivory handle was one word. Tobias.
Where did you get this?
Abe swiveled toward the fish tank.
Fuck if I know, Cher.
Cinder detested politics and drama. It was the way of their people never to get involved in ridiculous things. But when the Dark Trinity appeared to him, he could not refuse, for he liked his head on his shoulders, which was the least of the promises the abomination had threatened him with. As instructed, he entered the woods right before sunset. Just as the Dark Trinity had said, two men came trekking through the forest at exactly 4:43. Both men wore camo with orange hunter's vests. Cinder stepped out from behind the wide oak, obstructing the two men's path.
What the hell is this? You're that freak from the bar.
Cinder puffed blue smoke from the tip of his thick cigar. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep.
Who the heck is this?
Chris's companion asked.
He's nobody but a dead asshole,
Chris said, lifting his rifle. Cinder blew icy rings of smoke from his lips. The barrel of the rifle turned to brittle ice. When the trigger was squeezed, the weapon shattered into millions of pieces with a sound of nothing more than a quiet poof.
I'm getting the fuck out of here,
Chris's companion shouted as he fled away. Chris remained, holding a small scrap of the rifle's stock.
I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry.
He backed away.
I was high as shit last night and didn't mean to harm that bitch, I swear.
To ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The tree directly behind Chris became encased in scales of ice. Chris's back clung to the frozen trunk.
Stop. Please don't, man. Don't do this.
White steam billowed around Chris, and seconds later, his frozen corpse fell to the forest floor. Cinder knelt by the man's icy blue body, white mist rising off the brittle flesh. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year, Cinder blew out another smoke ring. Robert Frost